Mike, and this is Mike's After Action Reviews very first movie review. Today I have with me Megan.
Hello.
And Rachel.
Hi.
And we're all very nervous because this is the first time that they've ever done this, and they are kind of a wild card element for me. I have never had someone on video with me. So, anyway, so we just got finished watching Hubie's Halloween, and we all have our notes. I have many more notes than they do, but I'm sure that we'll all have plenty to say. And so this is going to be kind of like the rapid action review. If you've seen those, I've broken it. We've all kind of talked about and broken it down into the acting of the movie, characters, miscellaneous, which because this is a comedy, it's going to be about the comedy, the things that we liked about that, things like of that nature, and then the plot. So if this were an action movie, we'd talk about the action and CGI or whatever, but there wasn't very much of that in this movie at all. But so this is the non-spoiler section, and then we're going to get to a spoiler section later on, but we'll warn you when we come to that. So, acting. We're going to start off with acting. What did you think about the acting in this movie?
Honestly, initially I was not super excited about seeing this movie. Adam Sandler, he's a good actor, but I feel like he kind of reminds me of an annoying uncle sometimes. But I thought the acting was really good. It was super on par with Billy Madison and all of that, and I enjoyed it. For the type of movie it was, I enjoyed the acting.
Okay, what did you think?
So I watch maybe 5 movies a year, and I'm usually forced to watch them, but I actually really liked it. Halloween's my favorite holiday, and I think the acting was... You get kind of what you're expecting. It's hokey, but hokey in a very well done way.
Okay. Yeah, I actually... So, with the acting, Adam Sandler now has shown that he's got some acting chops with Uncut Gems. Punch Drunk Love is another serious movie he did a couple years ago. He's actually a pretty good actor. Some of his movies, though, lately. But I think that this is... I think I even wrote it down. This was Adam Sandler's... let me see. I wrote down it in the miscellaneous section. Many references to past Adam Sandler movies. But with the acting, this is his character is Hubie, and it is him acting like the water boy, but he's both smarter and stupider at the same time. But I think that everybody actually did a really, really good job. They had an all-star cast. Yeah. We're not going to list off all the names, but everybody you've ever seen in an Adam Sandler movie, they had, what's the guy's name for Victor Mackey from The Shield?
Yeah.
He was in it. What are some of the other people?
So I think overall it was a very blink and you miss it type of humor with the actors and the lines and everything.
It was slapstick kind of comedy.
They had Ben Stiller.
Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider.
Yeah.
And Ben Stiller, these people, they would come in for little bits and pieces, so
and
it was great.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I said. What do you call it? It was Adam Sandler...
cameos?
Well, no, like a reel of all of his best stuff, and then they took if you made a reel of all of the best things from any of the Adam Sandler movies, and then said, let's just make a movie of that.
And let me call all my friends.
Yeah, right.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, exactly. They just put that in here.
The whole time I was watching it, I was thinking, how much fun was this to film?
Because they had a blast.
Right.
They all looked like they had a blast, and honestly, that's important.
And I want to say, well, we'll get into it when we get into characters. So we're good with that. I also want to mention that Adam Sandler's daughters are in this, and for young actors, I think that they did fine.
Oh, yeah.
It's always hit or miss. There's quite a few teenagers in this movie, but they did all right. The grandma,
amazing.
I've seen her in a couple of
I love her.
Definitely. One second, as my computer shuts down here. Definitely did really, really great. As far and the acting, I think was basically on par. So characters. What did you think of the characters in the movie?
Oh, his mom was my favorite. Just from all the quirky shirts she had. I think some examples were she had one that said boner donor, and they weren't sure what the word boner meant. They thought it was just a mistake. So I think one time Adam Sandler was like, I made a boner in gym class. And he had no idea what it meant. But just she had all these shirts on. I shaved my balls for this. It was just great.
Yeah,
I loved it.
I did like.
She was funny. I enjoyed that.
What do you think?
Well, I agree that she's an inspiration to my future wardrobe, especially with work shirts. But think my favorite character was the werewolf guy.
Oh yeah.
Just because
Crazy
it was
Eyes.
so yeah.
From Mr. Deeds.
It was just so out there, and it didn't seem to really fit at first. And then I was like, "Oh, there we go. That's him."
Yeah.
Yeah, the way that it kind of came back around on itself was.
Maya Rudolph's
his
character was hilarious.
Love
She's
her.
hilarious.
Oh
in
wait,
everything.
which one is that?
Maya Rudolph, Bridesmaids.
Oh yeah, okay,
Love.
yeah. I do like her.
Miss Hennessy.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Now, so yeah, I think that the Hubie. One thing that I want to say is coming into this movie, some of the criticisms that I found not even because I didn't look into anything about this movie. I just knew that it was out. I had seen like an ad for it, but Adam Sandler's voice, Hubie is the main character, is his name. Adam Sandler's voice, I heard was just annoying and stuff, but it didn't bother me so much. Once it started getting going.
It really bothered me for the first 5 to 10 minutes, but then there was so much else going on that I was able to kind of, put it on the back burner. Yeah. I did not like the love interest at all. It was just...
Oh, yeah.
That was kind of awkward.
I will say...
It was very awkward.
That kind of did go nowhere. So they have a love interest in this. Oh, okay, you're talking about Hubie.
Yes.
Hubie has a love interest in this.
Yes.
Violet.
Yeah, it was kind of an awkward thing, and I actually did write... Violet Valentine.
Yeah, this is kind of getting into the plot too,
Yeah.
but
but
as a character, she didn't fit.
I wrote Violet Valentine because through the whole thing, there's kind of a mystery in this movie, and we're not going to get into the plot right now, but there is a mystery, okay? And I was like, Violet Valentine, who is the mother, because there's some teenagers you're following at the same time as following Hubie, I wrote, is very weird.
Yes.
Because she kind of, I don't know, she does this thing where she's with Hubie, and she looks at him and she's like, oh, tell me. Like, oh, I'll do anything. And you're like, what the heck are you trying to...
As Michael...
Like foreshadowing.
Explaining it to you as someone who probably doesn't know a whole lot about, women sometimes. That's the interest look, just amplified to kind of a ridiculous amount.
Like
I think
creepy.
I think it was super overdone, and honestly, if somebody looked at me like that, I'd probably leave.
Mm-hmm. Hubie is kind of a... Like I said, is a water boy. I wrote that down. I wrote it over here. A water boy, but both stupider and smarter at the same time. There is a teenage boy who is Violet Valentine's son, who we just talked about. But Tommy, you follow him. I was gonna say because you guys said about the love interest, but you follow him for a little bit of the movie, and him and another character kind of have a little love interest thing with him being a teenager boy and she's
the
a teenage
barista.
girl.
Yeah.
And it just kind of, I mean, it's there. Okay, that's there.
It doesn't really serve a plot purpose, but it was cute.
Yeah.
I mean...
along with... If you've seen the ads for this, or advertisements, or watch the trailer, you'll know that there's kind of like a... the whole thing is about this werewolf kind of thing, and there's like a psycho killing people or whatever on Halloween. So there is the psycho guy who you see a couple of times, and he's in a pig costume. So that's kind of like the bad guy that they present.
Just walking around town.
Yeah, just
hanging around in the background,
pissing on people's lawns.
Yeah, just like using the bathroom.
So there's that. So those are like you have Hubie, you have Violet Valentine, Tommy, Hubie's mom, and then this strange pig costume guy. So that just so you understand. And as far as a villain character, no spoilers, but as far as a villain character, I don't think even the pig guy was not.
I think it's kind of hard to find. You know that there's a villain in it, but you're unsure who it is because you see the pig guy wandering around town, and then we'll get more into the spoiler section. You see someone going around doing all this mischievous stuff.
Yeah.
You're just not able to pinpoint who it is.
So yeah, there's not even there's bullying is a theme of the thing too. Even the bullies, you don't just look at them and go like, oh, that's the villain. It's just kind of like because in a lot of these types of movies with Adam Sandler, a lot of these types of movies when you have teenagers, bullying is a big thing. So it's almost like incidental. Like what they do is incidental bullying. It's like off to the side. That's another thing. Hubie, I'm pretty sure Hubie, and I wrote this down. I was like, Hubie is secretly a very clumsy badass. Because in every single scene where you see Hubie, they'll say like, Hubie, your mom over there, she's in trouble. And so Hubie gets on his bike
Yeah.
and starts riding his bike. And as he's riding, you got people like chucking flamethrower,
Cinder blocks.
Chucking spears on fire and cinder blocks
And
at
it
him.
gets
And he's like,
progressively more ridiculous,
he's
too.
like dodging and weaving.
Oh
and
yeah.
does
he
tricks
avoided
with
it
his
the whole
bike.
time.
So actually, that was kind of
And
entertaining.
then runs off the road in his own yard.
He
Yeah,
actually
this
ran,
is
like
the-
he biked off the road and then hopped off the bike and it kept going and like landed on his feet. So yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, so he's like secretly so. Okay, so the miscellaneous section here is going to be mostly about the comedy, but yeah. So miscellaneous. What did you think as far as other than the acting and the characters or the plot? Like what did you have to say about like the comedy and?
Well, I love the mom, but my favorite part is that Hubie has this thermos that he carries around, and it's like a multi-tool. Like, it's a thermos where he has his soup in it. What else was it? It was a blender. It was a
Flashlight.
Vacuum
a
candle,
candle.
What are
Like,
those?
a grappling hook.
Yes.
The
yes,
grappling
like
scene
it's just
was
a
pretty good.
multi-purpose thing that he just has at all times. And like, I
That
thought
he
it was
ma-
so
he made in,
random.
like Boy Scouts or something.
Yeah, like, but it was so random, but it was so funny to me. Like, I died every time I saw it. So that was, like, that really stuck out to me.
So there's something, talking about the humor, there's something that was kind of off about the humor for me, because it seemed, he's this guy, and he, at one point he even pulls out his high school yearbook, and there's a lot of parallels with, like, the kids in high school. But these people are old. They are not 5 years
Right.
or 10 years out of high school.
Oh, yeah,
Adam
they're like
Sandler's
45.
what? In his mid-40s? And so a lot of it played kind of fake to me, because you have these people and they're like, oh, the girl from high school,
Most popular,
triple
biggest
threat.
shock.
And I'm like, you're okay, 20 years
Right.
later, you're not that dense about it. And he's the thermos, which is what made me think of it. He's carrying around the thermos that he made in like Boy Scouts in high school.
Yeah.
And so it's very, everybody in the movie that's an adult seems very either stunted or
But
Right.
you know
they're-
what though? Even though it's Salem, Massachusetts, it reminds me of any small town. Like being from the South, and you're from the South
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Like these places with like 800 like people in the town. Like I feel like a lot of
Right.
towns are like that.
That's
honestly,
true.
where people are stuck.
It always kind of gave me the heebie-jeebies that people in their 60s were at high school football games
Yeah.
just for fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Like a small town vibe.
sorry,
Right.
South.
Right.
It's true. I think that the werewolf, where they mistake the werewolf for the other thing, and he pees and then eats the bullet, like the dog.
Oh yeah. So,
So-
there's a section where there's a little bit of the,
husky.
a little bit of the plot, but I mean it's very obvious, so it's not because you even see things going on with the werewolf guy, so you know immediately
No spoilers.
Yeah.
He mistakes a husky for
Yeah.
a werewolf.
and you the audience will know
And
that
yeah.
immediately, so it's not. But yeah, the section with the with the dog.
I really
was
like
funny.
how it pointed out a lot of it kind of made fun of a lot of typical movie things, like the older man hitting on the younger teacher, and she's like,
movieisms.
yeah, like, I know you're not hitting on me, you're 3 times my age.
Well, yeah, and I think.
And-
oh, sorry, go on.
It's because you see that stuff in movies, and that's actually part of why I don't watch movies, because I'm like, oh,
I feel like it's like what people are thinking, but they actually verbalize
Yes.
it in the movie.
Mhm.
Like,
Right.
It's just word vomit.
Right. Actually, yeah. I mean, actually, I think that so. In this movie, it's almost like that's what I was to say. The movieisms. So you have things where something will happen in a movie, and immediately you say to yourself like, "Oh, it wouldn't actually happen that way," but you let it go because the movie has to go with
Yeah.
the plot. Okay, Hubie is almost like when you, the audience, let something go. So something will happen in the movie, but Hubie's so dumb that he doesn't see it is weird. No other characters see it. But then when other characters see Hubie do something dumb or something dumb happens, they act like you would act. They'd be like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
What the heck are you doing, Hubie? Like, or what the heck, like the woman with the older guy, like
Yeah.
you were saying, kind of the same idea. So it does play on the making fun of movies, and I think it actually does play on making fun of Adam Sandler movies a lot. Because,
Oh, definitely.
especially
Oh, yeah.
because
But he
Adam
poked
Sandler,
fun at himself
right?
too. I loved it.
So there specifically is sometimes when some of the reference that it makes. There's a scene where you see him dressed up as a ghost in wet sheets, which is from Waterboy. There is the thing with his voice, which is like almost like Little Nicky. There's a scene where he says he's with the cop, and so just again, not really a spoiler, okay? Because they even show you this in the trailer. he comes in and every year for Halloween he tells the cop all kinds of things. Like he'll say something weird was happening at this house, something odd was happening.
There's
at
a
this
diaper
house.
in the lake.
Yeah, something stupid things, and the cops get annoyed. So he's kind of a guy who cries wolf, and the cop gives him like some stupid menial task to go do for the night, and he says to keep him away from the cop so that he doesn't bother the cop, and he says like, "Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play," which is Waterboy.
Yeah.
He says the exact same line. Yeah, so I thought that was funny. His name, Schubert Dubois. They said that was pretty funny.
I feel like that should be a
Schubert.
spoiler because that was hilarious.
No, but
I died. Like,
but they say
Schubert.
they do that quite a bit. Like there's a part where he says like, Hubie Doobie, safe or careful or something.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of those, but I don't think that it'll be bad because I think you'll see it and it'll be. And then, basically I wrote so this movie there's like kind of a vulgar. Some of the things are vulgar, like with
some of them are really uncomfortable.
With the mom, some of the things are vulgar, like the shirts.
Well, the stuff that was uncomfortable was like this scene at the movie drive-in between the married couple with like the uncomfortable like finger licking.
Yeah, there's a finger licking part.
Turn you on.
So
and it just I feel like I don't like that kind of humor.
Okay.
It like, pushes it a little bit too far.
See, I do. I
and
love
takes
that.
it from like that's
Well,
not
I think
something
it was
I would
setting
want my
you
kids
up.
to see.
Well, no, I don't think that's
No,
something
it was setting you. It was
yeah.
definitely setting you up for the rest of the jokes about
Right. About
their
them.
married life.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was like, ooh, I don't.
Because
like
there's a part that with the same character where he and the woman is like, oh, that turns me on, and he's like,
And he's
really?
like,
And she's like, no.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I don't know. It gave me the skeevies a little bit, and I wasn't a huge fan.
So just so you get the idea of this movie, okay? Main points that I wrote down as far as this. So Hubie scares very easily, and it's a Halloween movie, so that's a big aspect of it.
But he
And-
seeks out the
Right.
danger.
So he's
knowing
seeking
that
out the
he gets
danger.
Scared.
And that's the thing. He's kind of like, he plays the role of like a patrol, like a, night watch, or what do you call it, neighborhood watch. And then also, like, this is what I was saying. He's secretly like a badass because he does all these things. He has this thermos that he uses a grappling hook and does all this stuff. But he's also like a huge loser. And another movieism thing is that everybody, even kids and every old people and everything, treat this guy terrible.
Awful.
Like they
Yeah.
throw every scene where you see him walking somewhere, he's walking and it's like a freaking sword will come flying in and stuff like that. So that was kind of like a movieism thing that you kind of had to let go because that's not very serious. But I mean overall, I didn't mention this before. I should have said this before we started, but I'll say it now because I do at the end of every video anyway. So here at Mike's After Action Reviews, we have a 5-fingered rating system. So we have bad, okay, and normally it's games, so this is just movies. So we have bad movies, below average movies, above average, and excellent. So two things I want to ask you before we move on. We've kind of already gone over basically the general plot of the movie. Hubie thinks that there's a werewolf and he's trying to solve this mystery of some things that happen in the town. Okay. Also, we kind of mentioned, do you think this is for, like, age group wise? Do you think that not for kids? Like,
I think
Teenagers?
I think
Family
kids would
friendly?
laugh at the slapstick stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't think. I think this is mostly targeted towards older people who are familiar with
okay.
His
Adam
movies.
Sandler
Yeah,
stuff.
absolutely.
And teenagers, because teenagers love any sort of thing. If you say boobies to a teenager,
Yeah.
they get all giggly.
So yeah, that would teen
Yeah.
movie. Oh, one thing. I was thinking about it before, but you were saying something. Ben Stiller comes in the beginning of the movie for like 5 seconds.
The
Ben
hot dog
Stiller.
thing.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller plays the same character that he plays in the movie Happy Gilmore, where he's the attendant to Happy's grandmother. It's the same guy, but he works in an insane asylum. So, anyway, I just wanted to
You know,
mention
this
that.
makes me
That's
wonder,
like
like, what the budget was for this movie. I mean,
Oh,
Adam
it's probably
Sandler's
huge.
crazy rich, but, like, just even, like, these people, like,
He-
Shaquille O'Neal was in it. Like, just, I wonder what the budget was.
Honestly,
Yeah,
if
Shaquille
I
O'Neal
had
is
as much
in this.
money as a lot of these actors, I'd be like, hell yeah, I'll do your movie. Let's
Just to
do it
hang
for
out,
fun.
because I
Yeah.
think they're all friends.
And honestly, the acting is not that complicated, and
No.
neither are the
Yeah.
lines.
No.
I could probably have pulled off most of these lines, and I can't act.
Yeah.
So, rating though. Final rating. What do you rate this movie?
I would. So I came into it not thinking that it was going to be that great, but I laughed. I enjoyed it. I'd say a 3. I mean, it's not a movie that
Below average.
Now,
I
don't
is that
use-
below
I don't use
average?
numbers.
I
I
thought
don't
it was
use
average.
I thought-
Okay,
yeah.
So
average
five.
is
When
excellent.
okay, normal rating systems like 5. No. Thinking of a scale of 1 to 10. Okay. I just don't use numbers. Sorry.
Okay.
1 second, guys. I don't use numbers because you'll have a movie, let's say, or a video
You said a
game.
5-finger rating system.
That's
No,
a
because I have
number.
five. Areas.
Anyways,
Anyway.
I think that it is a good
So-
movie. It's a good movie.
So like average or above average.
Average.
Okay.
I
But like a high average.
A high, yes,
High
a high
average,
average.
okay.
This is not a movie that I would, at the end of the day, working 3 days in a row, be like, I want to get home and watch this right now. But
Okay.
when Halloween comes around, or if I'm like in the mood to just like not think and just enjoy, like, which I love.
Like it's a movie.
A movie, yeah. I would, yeah. It's a good movie.
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
Okay.
More than I
Now
thought.
that's
I
coming
would.
from somebody who came into this even telling me I don't know if I'm gonna like this movie. So
I came into this with realistic expectations and was kind of hoping for better.
Mhm.
But I say it was on the high end of average, mostly because I don't know, some of the humor just felt a little off to me.
Okay.
And I don't know. I think they had focused more on the fun than they did the ratings.
I get what you're saying, yeah. So I would say that with the comedy, I was surprised with the comedy. I think the acting was all good. We all agreed acting was pretty good. All-star cast of people who've since being in Adam Sandler movies a while ago when he was first starting out, which were all good movies.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's been in a slump. I think that since he's done like Uncut Gems and some of these bigger movies, he's actually been doing okay in his career. But I think that the acting was great. The comedy, I'm maybe a little bit immature in the things that I like. So I would actually say that this is like a low above average. I would rate it just a slightly higher than you guys. Like a low to mid above average movie. Definitely, like we talked about, for teenagers and maybe if you know your kids, you know. But I would say low above average.
I would have rated it a little higher if it weren't for some aspects of the plot that I just really not a fan of.
Okay, I get what you're saying. All right, so now we're gonna do the spoiler section. So this is your warning. We're gonna go through the spoilers. I have written down everything about the plot. So
Yes,
this
you did.
spoiler section. Here we begin. We're gonna try to get through this pretty quick and mention anything. I'm just gonna go through every point, but I'm gonna go pretty quick, and then you guys just mention things that you remember in between anything I wrote and anything funny. Okay. So here's the plot of this movie for anybody who doesn't want to watch it, but actually I would recommend it's actually pretty good. We've all said that. Okay, so there's an escape from a psychiatric ward. You find out later that the person who escaped's name is Richie Hartman. All right, so now Hubie. Then you jump to Hubie. Hubie has a new neighbor. Now again, I'm just going through the major plot points, all of the things that we've talked about as far as every time you see Hubie moving. He's riding his bike, he gets stuff thrown at him, stuff like that. That's all happening in between all this, okay? So he gets a new neighbor, and they almost play it off like it's possible that is the escaped
That's
guy.
what I thought.
Yeah. So you think it's the escaped guy. He tells Hubie, "Hey, I'm Walter Lambert. Don't bother me if you hear any strange noises coming from my house
Which
at
is
night."
normal. I tell them.
Yeah.
All right, so it's Halloween, and we are in Salem, Massachusetts. Yeah, so we're in Salem, Massachusetts.
Not
Okay.
Oregon.
It shows a strange animal attack that happened to a pig at one of the local farms, and I also, just like a plot point, I wrote down like Walter Lambert is mysterious because you
So
see
wait,
him doing
before
he's,
you
like,
get to
boarding up his
this,
house. Yeah.
before you get to this, I think it's important to mention for like review wise that there's a cop that calls from wherever the escape convict
Right.
was,
Yes.
and calls the local cop, and he's like, "You
That's
remember this
how
guy?
you find out
This
Richie
is
Hartman.
his hometown, and he might be headed back." And the cop is like, "Bring it on."
Okay, yeah.
And it goes nowhere.
Right. Oh, good point. That is a good point.
Nowhere.
You never see. Yeah, you don't ever really see that. Except you do. It does say. Hubie does say later, like, "Oh, this guy was my friend in high school." So, but there's a strange animal attack. So again, this leads into, if you've seen the trailers, there's a werewolf on the loose. Is what it alludes to in the trailers. So, and then I said Walter Lambert is mysterious. You see him like boarding up his house and doing some weird stuff in
In
his
his
house.
garage.
In his
Just
garage.
boarding up every entrance.
Yeah. So then, okay, so as Hubie's going around preparing for Halloween, you see that he likes this woman who used to be from high school, who also was dating the cop, or married to the cop. They got a divorce.
Kevin James, the cop.
Yeah, Kevin James is the cop.
Yeah.
You see that the woman from high school has adopted some kids that look a lot like Hubie. Strangely enough. It's because those are Adam Sandler's children who are acting as two daughters. 1 second. Alright, so now it's Halloween. You hear some evil noises coming from the neighbor's house. That is... And he specifically said, like, don't come into my house if you hear strange stuff. Now, to the audience who already kind of knows what's going on, we're like, oh, these are like monster noises. Hubie goes to investigate and falls through a, like, what is it? Like a
trapdoor.
Like a trapdoor. Actually, yeah, that was weird.
Well, he uses his thermos as a screwdriver to
to go into the basement.
window.
That's right.
Yeah.
He goes into the window of the basement because his thermos has everything, and it becomes a screwdriver, doesn't it? And he finds, basically, I just wrote werewolf stuff.
Okay, so let me explain werewolf
Poop on
stuff.
the newspaper.
Human-sized poop on the newspaper.
And he's saying, he's
cans
like,
of
do you have a dog, Mr. Lambert?
cans of
Do you have a large
organic dog
dog?
food.
Yeah, organic dog food.
Like
Okay.
30 cans of Alpo.
Okay, and you see that and then as he's in the basement, you see that the neighbor has a hairy arm, and Hubie's like, oh, what's wrong? And the neighbor is like, oh, Walter, and then he jumps away and supernaturally almost
Like
jumps
scurries.
up a ladder. Yeah, like scurries up a ladder and out the thing. So I wrote, neighbor is a werewolf. Okay, so Hubie reports this. And this is what we were talking about before. Hubie is the boy who cried wolf kind of thing of the town. And so Kevin James doesn't believe him, he's the cop, and gives him a secret mission. What exactly was the mission?
It was
Like, what did they say?
He said it was like a auxiliary undercover unit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's like, keep this log of everything that happened and then put it in this specific trash can.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
says,
trash
keep a log of everything that you see, put it in the trash can at the end of the night, and don't talk to me.
And you kind of see the wheels turning for Hubie. He's like, put it in this trash bin. And Kevin James is like, yeah, we'll get to it. We'll see
Yeah,
it.
don't worry about it. Okay, so then Hubie starts patrolling the streets, which is something that his character does every year because he's all about safety and all this stuff. So he goes to some kind of party.
Like a high school party.
Like a high school
Yes.
party with no teachers, no adults, kids making out and like getting drunk, and Hubie comes in and he says, hey, you guys are getting drunk, whatever. And then they're all like, let's just kill this guy.
No, but the plot was very backwards because didn't he go to this high school party before he tried to teach at the school, or like the pieces of the day didn't line up, and I was like, it's
Well, no,
night,
but
it's
the high school-
daytime,
no,
it's
because
nighttime, it's daytime.
Okay, so before Halloween night, before school let out, he came to the school and
and
was
did like a safety lecture.
and did like, hey,
Yeah.
be safe. Okay.
Yeah.
But then that night, that was like at the elementary school, I think.
Okay.
But then the high school, and then that night he went to the high school dance or something, and all the kids just were gonna basically
Well,
kill
and this
him.
is where the plot ties in with like the high school kid, like the
Because Tommy is there. This is the boy
Yeah.
you follow.
he has a crush on the barista, so he goes in and orders a black coffee to look tough, which is a very
and chokes it down.
high school thing to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And then he's got a crush on the senior who's kind of like humoring him, but turns into a love interest. And then you have a high school Halloween party,
And they're
complete
both
with
there.
trashy costumes and spiking the punch. And
Okay. No, exactly.
Yeah.
So they're there, and that is about actually the only development you get for the love interest, which is fine. Actually, the whole story is about Hubie. I didn't mind so much that you basically saw the love interest between the kid.
I thought it was cute.
It was
it was
fine.
cute.
Yeah, I thought it was
Yeah.
okay. It wasn't anything. It's nothing. Okay.
It didn't bother me.
But basically, so these kids prank Hubie, tell him that there's a missing kid in the corn maze, which is across the street, and then the high school boy Tommy, who is Hubie's love interest's son, says to his love interest, this girl, I forget her name. I forget.
Megan.
Megan. Okay.
Megan.
How
To
did you
Megan,
forget
he
that?
says, oh, let's go tell Hubie that it was just a prank. Now they go out in the corn maze, and the kid tries to prank him. There's a kid out in the corn maze getting ready to basically just scare Hubie, and he gets attacked. Supernaturally so, too,
Mhm.
because Hubie finds this guy,
With a corn cob in his mouth.
corn cob in his mouth, and Hubie's
It
like,
just-
oh, what are you doing? And all of a sudden, he kind of like,
Yeah.
you know when you see the thing in movies where a person will be talking and then they'll just kind of like fly away? Okay, that's what happens here.
You know
which
what
is,
though, Michael? As a side note, I kind of enjoyed Megan and Tommy, just like how kind they were to Hubie, because you know the whole movie Hubie's getting bullied and stuff
Actually,
thrown at
that
him.
would get
But,
tiring
you know,
without- yeah.
they were like, no, we need to go tell him that this is a joke. They were kind of looking out for him, and I enjoyed that.
Yeah,
I
I
really
think
liked
actually,
that.
I was just, yeah,
that was important.
As you're saying that, it makes me think like you would get tired of Hubie just getting basically crapped
Berated.
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
whole movie. So, But anyway, so he after that attack happens, Hubie finds some tickets to a drive-in, and this is actually one of the funnier parts of the movie.
yeah.
They go to he goes to the drive-in, and just a side note, this is where we're talking about the finger licking part. There's a really funny family there, which is
Hennessy's.
the Hennessy lady from whatever show, Bridesmaids, and then another guy.
I really liked the comment, and it was another one of those like blink and you miss it. He was like, "This is just like high school," and she goes, "Yeah, you even have Hubie spying on everybody." And you look, and he's got his thermos again, expanded telescope.
Yeah,
and I can just see a teenager with a damn telescope, a darn telescope, just spying on people at a drive-in movie.
Making out.
So they play a prank on him where she cut. Oh, that's my son. If you hear, that's my son. They play a prank on him where they say that car over there is haunted. There's something suspicious, and Hubie goes over, and the car starts driving at him, and he thinks it's a ghost.
And somehow the middle-aged man rounds up like 4 mean teenagers.
Yeah, the 4 mean teenagers that keep throwing stuff at Hubie too. Okay, so let me see. So he runs into the woods. He sees the neighbor, Mr. Lambert, with the hairy arm, and he's eating a pumpkin. He's eating a pumpkin, but it's full moon, so he goes like, oh, I need to go. Oh, and he runs away so werewolf. Okay, so he's the werewolf, right? Then Hubie goes and just randomly visits Violet.
He's all over town.
Yeah,
at the diner, right?
Yes.
Yeah, at the diner.
And that's where she works.
And this is where. Sorry, go on.
And she offers him a glass of Chardonnay, which is very nice and relevant for later.
And he goes, "I don't like beer."
And then he blends split pea soup and oyster.
Clam chowder and chicken noodle soup.
Jumps it in the thermos. I can't get over the thermos, and blends it with A1 sauce, which made me throw up in my mouth a little bit. But
while this is going on, the family, the two,
the Hennessy's,
those two people that were pranking him get attacked. Okay, then we see the pig guy just randomly walking.
And the Hennessy's get attacked in the same way that the kid who lured Hubie into the maze did. Like sucked
one gets
into.
disappeared. Yeah, they disappeared and then get disappeared away from. And then the wife gets out of the car because the husband was checking out something, gets sucked away. And then the wife gets out of the car and of course runs over and gets snatched as well. So then you see the pig guy standing around you. I think we've seen him a couple times in the movie. But then the pig guy walks into Walter's house and sees Walter. This is Hubie's neighbor. Pulls it off, and it's, what's his name?
Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider, and he's like, "We need to talk." And this is Rob Schneider to the guy who plays Crazy Eyes. I forget his name.
Oh,
cool. In Mr. Deeds.
As he's handcuffed to the
and he's handcuffed
because he's a werewolf.
Yeah, because he handcuffed himself so he would attack people. Hubie's neighbor did this. So we know now at this point that the pig guy and the werewolf guy are not the attacker in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay. So then Hubie tells Tommy, this is the cop. Or no. Hubie tells Tommy, the teenage
kid.
boy and his love interest and his two sisters, because Tommy was supposed to be watching it. He says, "Stay home," and that's like the end of it for their storyline. Mm-hmm. He says, "Stay in the house, stay here." So Hubie then randomly is just walking around and finds a husky who he thinks is the werewolf, and he chases him through a
haunted house.
A haunted house, yeah.
Like the cliche version where with the creepy little girls and the guy with the axe in the head
and then an older man like Hubie's age, because they went to school together, starts bullying Hubie, and he gets attacked.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He gets attacked. And we find out that the dog was just a dog, and that was just whatever.
Well, Hubie somehow gets a silver bullet because he knows that's the only way to kill a werewolf, and he tries to toss it at the husky, and the husky eats it like a treat.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So then the pig guy and Lambert, we find out, are both psychopaths from the escape.
No, you have to look. You're missing stuff. They all kind of get together, and somehow they manage to shut this haunted house down. And all of these important people, the cop is there, one of the teachers from the school, the mayor, and they're all like, "Who's kidnapping these people?" And that's when they find out that the crazy people are in custody at the jail, and they're like,
so
they've been
there
there
for
an hour.
Right.
And
so
the werewolf isn't a werewolf, he's just crazy.
He's just crazy. You just think
so. You have these two escaped convicts that the plot is built around them, and then you're like, what? And that also fizzles out. Okay. And then they all decide to accuse Hubie of...
And they all think Hubie's the attacker. That was my next point. So then Hubie yells Frankenstein and runs away.
That's stopped, by the way.
Oh, no, it's not. 1 second.
Okay.
My computer screen goes black, so... yeah, so Hubie yells Frankenstein and runs away, and they don't catch him because of that great ploy.
Works for me every time.
Yeah, so he goes to the radio station, and at this point you don't know, like when he first turned out to the radio station, which is WTCH, which, okay.
And you hear it throughout the whole movie.
Yeah,
Just
you hear like
background.
narrating.
He has like a
And
kind of
at the radio
Like a
station.
sultry woman voice.
Yes.
And
But
he
has a relationship with this radio host.
because
Like,
he calls
all the time.
in. So then when we get there, it turns out that the radio station lady who's got this sultry, seductive voice is actually Shaq.
Which
With a lady voice. So, they find out, Hubie finds out that Violet, his love interest, actually is in love with him. And immediately Hubie is like,
no.
well, he
finds out that somebody calls in the radio station.
but she gives her
more-
name once.
She gives his name more often than he does.
Okay.
And they say, and the radio host says, she had a few too many glasses and said this song goes out to Hubie.
Okay.
And so he's like, there is a girl. And that's when they set up a
Okay.
meeting with Violet.
So, he calls the cops. The cops say, okay, we'll set up a sting. They have the phone number because they called the radio station. And so he calls Violet, and they set up a meeting. Now Violet comes to meet Hubie, and he's all wired, and the cops are waiting in a van, and they call the number that called the radio station, and it's not Violet's phone, but Violet does tell Hubie, "I'm in love with you." Okay, so there's
Since the second grade.
since the second grade, so there kind of wraps up, and
40.
everything comes full circle with the love interest, and Hubie's like, "Oh, this is wonderful," and then the cop
Wait,
says,
no. Hubie was in love with her since second grade. She was in love with him since first grade.
But
Sure.
he had a crush on the teacher.
Yes, because he
These
liked
are
his
important
teacher.
details.
They
He
are
liked his
important.
teacher.
They're
Yeah, sorry.
quirky little moments.
Okay, so he didn't like her because he was in love with the 70-year-old teacher because of the way she smelled.
Yeah.
Okay, so then
Mommy issues.
Grandma.
they call it, and they call the phone number, and they track it and find out, oh no, it's at Hubie's house. Okay,
So at this point, he's all like, my
Mom.
mother.
Yeah, he literally stops. He's like, Mom. Okay, so he runs away.
Steals a boat.
He steals a boat and somehow gets home with it to his house. It's on his,
I didn't even realize
not
there was
on
a
the
lake.
water.
He
does.
boats to his front door.
like Waterboy.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you find out, and he figures it out actually, probably before we don't see him figure it out.
No.
But
He
he
walks
goes
in
in.
to protect his mom, and she's sitting there in the dark,
Chardonnay.
drinking Chardonnay.
Which, by the
See?
way,
Ties
according to
back in.
Shaq, is truth serum. And he says, "Oh, do you love me, Mom? Am I your number one? Or and you tried to teach me, show how much you love me." So we find out that basically Hubie's mom did all of the attacker, did all of this stuff to punish Hubie's bullies, and she has them all tied up outside, ready to be burned at the stake. So, and also as that's happening, where it's revealing, we see the news ladies.
Yeah,
one of
she
the
calls
Harley
the
Quinns.
news. Yeah.
She tipped him off.
And they come and they start recording, and immediately when I saw this, I was like, I said this to you guys, I was like,
Why aren't they
help,
helping?
Yeah.
because there's people about to be murdered. So they come, and then
Camera
okay, so
celebrities.
the rest of this is pretty simple. I don't really need that. So then they come, and she's about to light the place on fire, light the people on fire, and Hubie
He has to do some soul
pulls out
searching
he pulls out the
to decide if he's going to let his
Yes,
mama
because
burn
he's
him down.
rerunning all these times that these individual bullies have been mean to him.
And then the
Right.
last screen is like Violet's face, and then he's like,
okay. So
"We
I'm gonna
can't
help.
burn people alive."
So the mom lights the match, old lady by the way, and she's wearing a shirt that says "Kayaking makes me wet." She throws
Love
the
those
match
shirts.
onto the
Classic.
fire to light these people on fire, and Hubie very quickly pulls out his thermos
And kills the fire.
and kills the fire by.
Split
You
pea
think,
soup.
yeah, you think it's gonna be
Split
something cool,
split pea, clam chowder, chicken noodle soup.
yeah, and then and so the whole thing gets televised, and the mom is like, "See, you guys were so mean, but Hubie saved you all, even though you're all terrible people."
And of course, all of the villains confess to like their crime. I'm so jealous that he has I have to try to be cool all the time. I feel like he just gets to be himself. And
Right.
I'm not sexually fulfilled, but he has hope to one day be
Sexual
sexually
hope.
Yes.
Sexual.
Or
Yeah.
I got diagnosed as dyslexic, but it turns out I'm just dumb. I know you're all surprised. And of course,
They're not.
typical movie fashion, everybody's like,
I'm not surprised.
no.
So then, as the cops are standing there, and then also the two psychopaths that came with them.
Mm-hmm.
And Rob Schneider did not yell, "You can do it," at all in this movie.
I was waiting
sadly.
for it.
I know,
That's
yeah, I was
true.
sadly. But they're all standing there, and they're going to take the mom away to prison, or to jail, and she yells, "Frankenstein!" And then they all look, and they turn back, and she's gone. So she escaped.
So I think one of my favorite comments in the whole movie actually is when she's like, I want to make sure you're okay before I go. And he was like, to heaven? And she's like, no, probably to hell.
Yeah.
And then
Probably
when she
going to hell.
disappears, there's like this weird like orange glow in the woods, and he's like, Mama?
So, and then basically we jump forward, Hubie, and this is like a typical Adam Sandler ending to a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Sandler is a nerdy, not so attractive, I mean, he's an okay looking guy, but basically nerdy, dumb looking
So
guy.
there's a reason they kept
And
painting him as an
every-
egghead in 51st Dates.
Yeah.
Every single movie he's in, he gets the girl, he ends up a millionaire.
With the family.
With the yeah, so
As the
basically,
mayor. He was the mayor.
Hugh,
that
yeah, that's what I'm
happen?
saying. Hubie gets married to Violet. In the end, we'd kind of jump forward at maybe next year. I don't
Yeah.
know. Tommy is with the girl, Megan, and everyone now loves Hubie, and he is also the mayor. So-
Riding off into the sunset.
And all of his
nothing thrown at
kids-
him.
Yes. And his
Like-
kids dress like characters from the movie.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, it was really good. So, and then even Kevin James is now a friend of the family, and so they're all
Somehow.
friendly now. So, but overall, I think that this is definitely we all kind of said average. I said a little bit above average, but that's right. I think this was a good one, and I
it
really enjoyed
bothered
it. Yeah.
me how much stuff fizzled out. Like you have, they tried to pull so much in, and a lot of it, like the escaped convict and the werewolf, and even the cop / convict revenge thing that they looked like they were going to set up at the beginning.
Yeah.
And like it all just sort of and the job at the diner, she was late to the diner, and the boss hassled her, so she's a broke waitress. Like they threw in
Yeah.
every movie trope they could think of, and it all fizzled out. So
But I
other
think it
than
was
that,
done on purpose that way, honestly.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
well, the nostalgia factor will help
Right.
you along if
Yes.
you like Adam Sandler. But I
Yes.
also think that if you're not if you're younger, that's what I was saying. If you're younger, you're gonna like the jokes just because the jokes actually are
Right.
pretty funny.
Yeah.
And if you're not younger, and if you're older,
And you
you're,
love Adam Sandler
if
and
you're
his
only
humor,
young at
you'll
heart.
well, I mean,
enjoy
even
it.
if you don't love Adam Sandler,
Yeah.
you're going to like the nostalgia factor
Yeah.
of it also. But anyway, okay, so that was our review. Thank you guys all for watching. I'm gonna do an outro. So
Okay.
I'll like this part that I'm right now. I'm gonna cut this out.
Oh, that's offensive.
Or well, I won't cut. Maybe I won't cut this out. I'll just say, all right, guys, thanks for watching. Blah 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 blah. Okay, whatever.
If we happen to bring in views, we might get to come back.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
awesome. All right, see you guys next time. Thank you very much. All right, awesome. There we are. First movie review. Hubie's Halloween. Very good.
You didn't quit,
Out.
Michael.
Hey everybody, thank you for watching. I hope they really enjoyed that video. This was our very first movie review, and I'm really excited to see how you guys like it. Our format is similar to the Rapid Action reviews in that it's unscripted. I have some friends over, we watch the movie, we take notes. Immediately afterwards, we break down the movie into different categories to rate it as, and then we talk about each of those categories. So for movies, obviously, you're always going to have character, you're going to have plot, you're going to have acting. This one was, another category was the comedy of the movie, which we thought was pretty good. Other movies, it might be action, drama, different things. If you think that there's something that I should change about the way we do this, let me know in the comment section below. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. If you really want to support the channel, what really helps me is, subscribe, but then also share my videos on social media. I pay for advertising on multiple platforms, and no advertising that I could ever pay for would ever be as good as you, my viewers, telling people, hey, look, watch this guy's videos. I watch them. You're all my friends, and I recommend him to you. I want to thank you all for your support. I really appreciate it, guys. And remember, once we hit 250 subscribers, I'll be doing some cash giveaways, and then beyond that, we'll also have some other cash giveaways planned. So get your mama, your papa, and your grandma all to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys. Appreciate your support again. God bless you all and have a good day.